So Kimberly asked me a couple of weeks ago if I could offer a session for, um, I guess, for EC tips on maybe some things that we can do in Canvas to help with serving our EC students. Um, so as I go along, if you have questions, please ask. If you have tips of your own that you've learned, feel free to share those as well. Um, so just really quickly, I didn't know if you guys knew how um, to do like to actually get into Canvas, those kinds of things. So you know that you go to your NC Ed Cloud and it's the red Canvas button. I just want to make sure that you guys knew that it's the red one. The blue one is for DPI. So the one for our county is the red. Once you get on there, um, you've got a dashboard over here, and that's where your classes that you'll be teaching show up. You can control what shows up on your dashboard by going to courses, click all courses, and then you can star which ones you want to show up on your dashboard. Okay, so that's just kind of a really quick little thing about how to get in to Canvas. Once you've clicked on your course, we need to work on starting to set that up for our EC students. I think how we set up Canvas is pretty important. You want it to be user-friendly for them, easy for them to navigate through and not get lost. So you can decide how you want this to look when you first come on by choosing Choose Homepage. And I usually just click course modules. I think it's a lot simpler for my EC kids when I taught them in resource just to go straight to the modules, so they'll have everything right there and not have to be searching around. So we'll just save it for course modules. To add your people, you just go over here to people, and I just went ahead and added some people just so you could see what to do, but you would just do click, add people, type in their email address. I'll just add Kimberly. Kimberly, is it just Kimberly Thompson, K Thompson?
Yep, that's it.
Right here is really important. Make sure you have the role correct. If it's one of your students that you're adding, add student. But as an EC teacher, especially if you're in an inclusion classroom, we're going to ask your gen ed teachers to add you guys to their Canvas courses. And so you'll need to be added as a teacher. Okay, so just make sure that when they're adding you into their Canvas shell that they put you down as a teacher. Click next. And it shows the green check sign. So a lot of times people think, oh, well, I'm finished with it, but it's not finished. You have to click add user. Okay, and so now I'm waiting on Kimberly to accept her course invitation. You can control over here on the left what you actually want your students to see. This is a whole lot of stuff right here. And they don't see all of this. Some of it's because, you know, you're the teacher, but you can control what they see by going to settings. Hold on, I got people popping up in my waiting room. And then right here under navigation, if you don't want them to see, you know, maybe the outcomes, because that's not something that's important, you just drag it and drop it down here. Maybe they don't need to see badges or, discovery, and maybe that's not something you use in your classroom. You just drag it down here to where you're going to hide them, okay? And so now all they'll see is what you have up here. We good so far? Okay. So let's start adding modules. Here's where you want to maybe spend some time thinking about how to set this up to make it user-friendly for your students. I've done it different ways. I've done it by units. Some teachers like to do it by units. Some teachers maybe like to do it by topics. Like if you're in math, maybe you're doing equations and you have that module, and then it's inequalities for a module. And then several years ago, when Elizabeth Joyce was our tech person at Moorhead, she suggested by the week. And that worked out really well for me. So that's just kind of what I stuck to. So let's just say we're going to do it from week of August 17th through August 21st. And then you can lock it if you choose to lock it. If you don't want your students going in there yet, you can lock that. And so here's my module. If I want to go ahead, because I'm a prepared teacher, and we want to just go ahead and build it for the month or the 9 weeks, go ahead and you can do that. Now, right here, you can choose to add a prerequisite. If you want them to go through the first module or the module before it, before moving on, you can do that. So now these students will have to complete whatever I add in under the module of August 17th through the 21st. They'll have to complete that before they move on to the next week. Okay? And so here's my first 2 modules. Now, if I want to add assignments or, videos or presentations, all I do is go here to the 3 little dots. And I can start moving things around, go here to the plus, and I can start adding. So I can add assignments. I can add quizzes. I can add files, a discussion board, a text header. Let's start there, because I know and I saw Crystal jump on here, so I'll just reference her. For her functional skills classes, the week of August 17th to the 21st may not mean a lot to those kids, but we might want to break it down even more for them. And Monday, here's going to be the assignments that follow from Monday. And so now we're going to go back and let's just add a page. Can be used for like your videos or any content that you want to give them, maybe your presentations that you want to upload, or you can do your assignment. So let's just add new assignment. Let's say Crystal's going to give them a math assignment on Monday. And she's going to click this after she's named it, and we're going to just edit it. And she can put whatever she wants to in here for their assignment. You have an option here to add files that you maybe done in Dropbox. But here, if you look under more external, you've got all kinds of things that you can add or grab assignments from that you've maybe gotten on your computer or that you've downloaded and that's saved on your hard drive. You can do a graph builder. There's math equations you can build in. You can also look over here to the right and under files, and I just went ahead just to save some time and added a few things. So maybe, she wants to add this assignment, adding using pictures. I didn't mean to add it twice. You can assign the points you want out of 100. That's how you do your grading scale. How you want them to submit it. Maybe by a text entry box or media or file upload. But I want to show you something. See how this doesn't show up? Maybe her students in a functional skills class, or maybe even some of your lower functioning occupational skills kids, may have a difficult time knowing to preview the document. You click on the little magnifying glass or something like that. So when you're in Edit, if you click anywhere within this link right here and do this link, the hyperlink, if you click Auto Open and Update, you're going to save it. And now it's going to pop up for them. So they're going to be able to see what it is that you're wanting them to do. Okay. So any questions so far about how to add in things under your modules? No? Okay. Just real quick, this isn't published. So you need to make sure that your Canvas course is published. Put your little publish sign so it's green. That way your students can see it. Then you need to publish your modules as well. Now once this is done, it automatically checks it, but if Crystal don't want them to see the math assignment yet, she can come back in and just uncheck that so that they're not seeing it yet. They're only going to see what's green. Another really cool little feature I want to show you right quick is your calendar. So the students will see what's due from their 4 classes or 5 classes, ever how many they have in Canvas on each day. But you can see what you have assigned to. And I just thought it was really cool. I didn't know this until I think I took some PD back in April. But to change the due date or something, you can just drag and drop it on a different day. And it'll automatically change it. So I thought that was pretty neat. So for your EC students who maybe have organizational skills, or maybe they don't have an organizational skill, but you know that they really have some struggles in that area, or meeting due dates or things like that, this calendar would be a good way to work with them on their organizational skills. You make it even, since we know we're going to be doing some remote, at least starting out the year, that may be an IEP goal that you'd like to add for them is using the calendar in Canvas. So just something to kind of think about. So let's talk about inclusion settings. If you're an EC teacher in the inclusion setting, you do have some of those same responsibilities as if you were in the actual school building, okay? So it is really important for your gen ed teachers to add you to that Canvas shell as a teacher for your role, okay? And we can go through some things in just a minute about how you can serve those EC kids using Canvas when you're in an inclusion setting. So really make sure that you touch base with your teachers and you get in as a teacher role, okay? in an inclusion setting, there should be some Zoom meetings going on that your gen ed teacher is holding. You want to be a part of those Zoom meetings. You want to participate, you want to help co-teach. That's part of our role in an inclusion setting. There's also breakout rooms that you can use in Zoom where you can lead small group instruction. Part of what you can do in Canvas as the EC teacher in inclusion classes, you can add in those instructional videos and resources for your EC students. So let's go back to our class. And let's look at people. And we've got some options that we can do. We can set some groups. So maybe within your inclusion class that you've got some of your EC students that you're wanting to group together. A lot of times, especially in the math courses, maybe you have, not only your standard course of study students, but also your OCS students sitting in there. So maybe you want to be sure that you're grouping your OCS students together. So you can do OCS. And you'll want to create those groups manually if you've got a group project or something going on. And then maybe, within that OCS group, maybe you've got your high flyers. And maybe you've got those who are going to just need a lot of help, and you want to maybe group those together. Maybe you want to split them up. But all you do here is you just drag and drop where you want them to go. So, thinking about your functional skills kids, you could even do groups there, because in functional skills, there's a very wide range of performance levels. So you could even, use groups to help split those kids up and offer more small groups or differentiation. You can also come down here, and I have not used sections, but Kimberly wanted me to talk about them. And I'm going to let her jump in if she has anything, but I did do some research because I just like knowing. And so I don't know why in the world I didn't use sections before. So if you don't know what sections are, this would be really great to use in your inclusion classes and your resource classes. But it's really simple. You just add a section. So let's say we're sitting in that inclusion math class. You've got your OCS kids in there, and we want those to be separate. Okay, maybe we're going to offer them some separate assignments, some separate tasks, things like that. If you add them in here as a separate section, then you're able to do that.
So I'll just jump in while she's working on that. So the difference between groups and sections are really important to create when you're creating assignments. So after Jennifer creates this group and puts a couple students in, we'll have her bump over to an assignment, because in assignments, you then can put certain sections to complete different assignments. So let's say you have a Math 1 assignment that has some lower students, then you want to do another Math 1 assignment for some higher students. You can assign those by section. Groups are great because in a group setting, students can collaborate. They'll have a group page. So if you are working with a small group of students, you can share things to the group page. So that's the difference between the two. A group is going to have all those kids working together in a collaborative environment. So it's actually like another small component of Canvas. It's kind of their own room, where section is important, where you will be putting students by assignments.
Yeah. So to add your students to the different sections, you go back to people, and here's our list of people. You got these three little dots right here. You're going to edit sections. maybe I want Rhonda, maybe she's OCS and that's where I want to put her. So I'm going to put her in the OCS section. That doesn't take her out of the everyone section. If you're used to Canvas and you know that when you do assignments, you assign it, it usually comes up assigned to everyone. But she can also be assigned just for OCS assignments.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Jennifer. Unless you're only going to be assigning them to assignments by those groups, I would leave them in the default one, so that if you do have assignments that everyone gets, everyone will continue to be in that group.
Yeah. But you know, I don't know how things are gonna run, and Kimberly May can talk more on that. You know, what a typical time would look like. But if you're doing a Zoom session and you do 20 minutes of a Zoom session as a whole group, and then maybe your gen ed teacher gives an assignment to do, maybe some independent practice or something, but maybe you as EC teacher want to pull your group and do some additional reteaching, or you know, things like that, that maybe those assignments need to be modified for your group. You know, maybe they need to be shortened in length, or you know, something like that. So let's go back here to this math that I had added in here.
And Jennifer, Kyle has a question. He says, I work with both and have been doing PDs. Google Classroom will still be an option for functional skill kids, correct? So can you speak to that from the EC department? What is the expectation for the use of Google Classroom?
Yes, as far as I know, Google Classroom would still be an option.
Okay, great.
That has not changed as far as I know. So let's go up here to edit. And right here, if this was a group assignment, that's where your groups would come in. But when right here, when it says assign to everyone, it automatically does everyone. So that would be everyone, that all your students that's in this Canvas shell. If you wanted it just to go to your OCS students, you click your OCS and you're going to do the X on the everyone. So now the only students who are going to receive this assignment are your OCS students. We all know that assignments and things like that, they really do need to be modified, even if it's, you know, we're teaching remotely and it's through Canvas. It's really important that those assignments and things get modified to meet those kids' needs. And you as the EC teacher know how to do that. You guys are the experts in doing that. So that's why, you know, I stressed in the beginning to please get your gen ed teacher to let you be in the role of a teacher also, because, you know, this can be what you do to help your kids be successful in those inclusion classrooms. Okay. We good so far? Any questions about the inclusion?
So someone said, if your class is not a class that EC teacher comes into, are the EC teachers going to set up their own Canvas courses so those students have a place to reach out? So that's a great question, Amanda. So are you talking that you are, like those students are on your caseload and you just offer support to those students?
Well, I'm just a regular ed science teacher.
Okay.
So I'm looking at it from that perspective, because I'm not a class where I have the EC teacher come in, yet I have students. I'm still having to address everything that they're supposed to have addressed in my classroom online.
Right. So you're not in an inclusion setting. Gotcha.
No,
so
not an option.
Gotcha. So just reach out to your EC lead in your building. And it, you know, there might be some differences. Kids might be on different caseloads, but your EC lead is definitely going to work with you. And you can say, here's my assignment. You know, what can I do to modify it? I'm always going to my EC teachers and getting their input, because as Jennifer said, they are the experts. So just reach out to them. They can also provide you a list of strategies. Can the EC teachers still be added? Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a great one, Elizabeth. So for you, Amanda, you can just add them to your course. And so they can provide that assistance that way. So when you have things posted, you know, they can go in and look at it and give you feedback. So yeah.
Anything else? You know, as an inclusion teacher, you can also upload, you know, instructional videos to maybe help support. And, you know, these things don't have to just be used with EC students. When you add in the supplemental materials to kind of help out, that can be for any of the students who may need a little extra support or a little extra push. But, you know, you can definitely, you know, add in those things.
Yeah, I think you make a great point, Jennifer. We had a student last semester that was struggling with the amount of reading in a course. And so one of our teachers came in and did some videos, and we were finding that a lot of the students were actually watching the videos. It was very helpful for more students than just him.
Absolutely. So don't, I think when things kind of happen like they did back in March, I think, you know, our gen ed teachers are maybe a little bit gun shy about letting additional teachers in there. And then, you know, we as EC teachers maybe didn't have a lot of experience working in Canvas, you know, or adding additional support through the online model like we do within a classroom. But, you know, don't be scared or shy about asking, you know, to be able to do those things. It is your classroom too. And those are, you know, your kids to serve as well. So just kind of, if you wanted to insert some videos, you can certainly do that here. I just call this one solving equations. You can do it through a URL model, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But sometimes with our EC kids, especially maybe the lower ones, they weren't exactly sure. They would click on it, maybe watch the video, but didn't know what they need to do. So if you set it up through a page, you know, then you can type in what you want your kids to actually be doing, maybe, and take notes, just so that you are able to give them explicit directions. Okay. So let's just say solving equations video. There's tons of YouTube videos out there. Just make sure you watch them and it's what you want. The Khan Academy for math is great. So we'll just do a Khan Academy video. Computer's going a little bit slow. So here's our video. Right?
Great.
And you'll see right here it says copy link. If you just click that, copy link, and you have this little media symbol right here. Just copy and paste it into there, and you click OK. And so now there pops up your video that you want them to watch, and they can click straight on here and watch it within Canvas, or they can send it out to a new tab. Okay, so just real simple things that you can do if you find supplemental videos or that your students need some extra support.
And something else to note, Jennifer, when you're setting up pages, I like to do like a to-do list and number things. And that's just a good practice for any student to have that, like number 1, number 2, number 3. So that way they kind of get, okay, here's the process I need to work through. And so you as EC teachers can, you know, are really good about offering that support to regular ed teachers. Because I remember when I first was a regular ed teacher, I never did an agenda. And it was an EC teacher who said, you know, your kids are getting lost every day because you're not guiding them through what they're expected to do. So you all offer so many strategies that are good, not just for EC students, but for all students.
Sure. Any questions about inclusion types of things that we can do for our EC kids? Okay. So resource classes, that's not going to be a lot different. You know, you set up your sections if you want them set up. I know Michael's resource classes are just all OCS, but most of our other high schools, their resource classes have both standard course of study and OCS kids. So if you need the two sections there to differentiate assignments and tasks and things like that, that's a great way to do that. It's through the sections. Again, you're uploading instructional videos, and I will say, you know, you can do pre-recorded videos. I don't know if you guys know of Loom, but Loom's a great program that you can use. It's free. You can do your pre-recorded videos and upload them into Canvas. And there's lots of different things out there that you can use. You don't have to use Loom, but it's free, and it works. So if your students need you, and a lot of times, you know, you guys know how to teach on the level that your EC kids need you to teach at. So maybe it does need to be a pre-recorded video from you and not maybe a Khan Academy video. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you may want to go ahead and do some pre-recorded lessons and have available for your kids. One thing that I wanted to talk with you about, as far as how Canvas can be useful, I know that at a couple of schools last year, we had some additional Canvas courses created because, for instance, some of our functional skills teachers, they have kids on their caseloads who are not in their functional skills classes, right? They still have to serve them. They still have to provide the specialized instruction piece. They still have to work towards those IEP goals. And Canvas was a way that they could group those kids together. And I wanted to pull up Kyle's. I know he wouldn't mind. I've been playing in it. Kyle, if you're on here, so don't freak out if you see something different. But Kyle and I set his up for those EC students that are in the standard course of study classes that he doesn't see, that he doesn't teach. And so, you know, what we did is he put some general stuff in here, like Speak It. That's a great Chrome web tool that you can download on those Chromebooks. You can highlight the text and have it read to them. If you've never used Speak It, that's a great thing to use. So he had Speak It in here. You know, ways that he would provide additional support. Maybe you've got office hours that you want to post and things like that. But then this is how we divided it up for those kids on his caseload that he doesn't teach. We did our modules by their need. So, you know, he had some kids who have reading goals. Some kids have math goals. You have your written expression goals. He had some who needed grammar. Maybe you've got some social emotional goals for some of your students. So this is how he split those up, and then he did the assignments based on those IEP goals. And again, you can assign maybe, you know, this reading passage Eduardo buys new shoes. Maybe this is a 5th grade reading passage, and not all of your kids are on the 5th grade level. Maybe some of them are on 7th grade level. So again, you want to just assign it not to everyone, but to who you specifically want it to go to. So that's how it becomes individualized for those IEP goals. Any questions or suggestions? I know some of the teachers at Rockingham and maybe even Reidsville, I think, had Canvas shells just for their caseload kids. How did that work out for you guys? Any comments? No. They're not talkative, Kimberly.
Actually, I got an email today about creating Canvas courses for caseload, so I think that's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that before, but I'm seeing in the chat that it was very helpful for those that had it. So we'll definitely work across the district in every school to get those up and running for you guys. So just contact your instructional coach and they can create those shells for you.
Yep. I do just want to note that, this doesn't take the place of that specialized instruction. They do need the specialized instruction. These were just some assignments that he had put in. But you meet with your kids through Zoom once a week or once a month, whatever you have for that service delivery time. You teach those skills, and then this is a way to come back and maybe do some of that progress monitoring piece, and see where they're at. It's also not just a place to house, just to let your kids just jump on Read Theory and that's all they do, or jump on iExcel and that's all they do. That doesn't take the place of you, the EC teacher, providing that specialized instruction portion. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. I did want to show you guys.
Okay, we had another question. If we have students that are SES goals and we are seeing them in inclusion, can we put SES assignments in the class Canvas or in our own? Yeah, you certainly can. Just make sure you have those kids in sections, and so you can assign those assignments just to those students.
Yep. And you can also add, because I do know, especially at Moorhead, iExcel is really huge, and I'm hoping that maybe some other websites and programs are going to become available now that we're doing more remote. But you can add those so that they'll pop up over here. If you go to apps, and you go to the redirect tool, so you're going to add an app. We're going to name it. Let's just do iExcel. And we're going to put in their website. And you want it to show in the course navigation. We're going to add the app. Let's refresh our page. Let's see if it worked. Yep, there it is. So now it's up here on the side for your kids to see. And if you ever want to know what it is that your kids are seeing, you can do student view, and it'll show you, what it looks like on the kids' end. So right now, this is all that they're seeing because that's all that I've published. And over here is what they're seeing. Okay. Any questions? So your functional skills classroom, a lot of you guys used Google Classroom last year and are maybe a little bit more familiar with it, and that's perfectly fine. As far as I know, you're still able to do that. You can do the same kinds of things in Canvas though. Just by how you set up your modules, you can still upload your pre-recorded videos and differentiate your task, just like you can in Google Classroom. But I think right now it's up to you and which one you feel more comfortable using. I know I have some functional skills teachers on here right now. Is there anything that you guys want to ask, or maybe Kimberly and I can, talk about or share some tips about that were maybe, you see as maybe a hurdle that you would have to overcome using Canvas or anything like that?
Well, setting up the modules, that part seems easy. My fear is just a lot of my parents are also limited. And it just seems like Canvas is very busy. And so I don't really see a way. I know when you went to the student view, it did look a little bit more compressed, but it's just a lot of clicking of buttons and different things like that. That's my fear with my parents and my students. And so I think Google Classroom may be a little easier. It's not as much buttons and clickings, and you can assign it to each student. I mean, I know you said that in Canvas, but I don't know. It just still looked like a lot.
Yeah. Oh no, I understand. I mean, switching to any platform it has a little bit of a learning curve. So a couple things. One, you can lock and unlock things so they will only show, for a certain time period. You can publish and unpublish. And like Jennifer did, it's always a good idea just to go to the student view. So when a parent becomes an observer, they see exactly what the student sees. So that is nice, that they can go in and see everything. And just know that I am working on some instructional videos. I have several for what do teachers do, and now I'm working on a series of how to for students, and then I'll work on a series of kind of like for parents. So if there's a specific topic, specific thing, like, how does a student make a Google Doc? Just let me know. And I actually have a shell created for Moorhead right now that I'm putting all of these videos in. So you're gonna have a ton of support on the back end from us. But if you also want to invite parents to a Zoom session, and we can do some one-on-ones with parents or a group setting and just kind of show them as parents, here's what it looks like, here's how you'll navigate, but we can do videos as well. So just let me know what you need from us.
Okay, thanks, Kimberly. I will.
So again, just some other little tips as we're winding down. You can, of course, unlock assignments like Kimberly just said, or you can lock, lock your modules. It's completely up to you, and they'll unlock whenever you tell them to. And they'll open up, like on this assignment right here. Maybe that's an assignment that I didn't want to open up until the second day that we start back. So maybe that the 18th. So it's not going to open up until the 18th. Maybe my class isn't until 11 o'clock. And so you can set it from when you want that, the date and the time for that, that assignment to show, and then you can lock it. So maybe I want to give them a week to finish it. And so now it's going to close at August 25th, and so they no longer have access to it. So that's just kind of a way that you can, control what assignments they're seeing, or keep them from moving on ahead, or from, lagging behind, whatever the.
Jennifer.
Yes.
So so when you assign, say like before you did that math worksheet, the worksheet. Yes. When they go to submit it, how, because I know like on the teacher and when we're doing our assignments, we can submit it different ways, but it's a lot of clicking. Is there a simpler way like that? Yeah. Is there a simpler way for them to, they would download that and then complete it, or they would put the answers on a separate sheet and then submit that in the text?
See, that's a great question, and that's actually one of the things that I wanted to share with you. It's in the other tips, and I'll go ahead and do it now, Crystal, since you said it. This is a PDF that I had downloaded, and so you're thinking they're either going to have to print it, or you're going to have to print it and mail it to them, or how are they going to actually complete it and get it back to you? But there's this thing called Kami, this website, and let me get logged in. And this is what it'll look like when you first open it up. But if the kid downloads it onto their Chromebook, the student downloads it onto their Chromebook, then they can go into Kami and do an open file. And I went ahead and had preloaded some of these. And so here's one that I had found, and they can annotate all over it. They can write on it. They can add text boxes on it. They can draw on it. So if you're wanting them to match the shapes, whatever you want them to do. And then when they're finished, You go over here to the share document. Oh, sorry, I have to upload it, I guess, first. And they can either send it to you to your email, or they can embed or copy it and then get it back to you in the Canvas and submit it that way. So even your PDFs that you have, they're able to do those if they download them, do their work in Kami, and then come back and upload it to you guys under their submit. They would just copy and paste that link in there. Did that help at all, Crystal?
Yes, I know some of my students and parents will be able to do it, but I have some that won't. The more programs and the more clicking they have to do, it frustrates them. But that is a great idea, because I did stuff like that last year with them trying to match and draw, and it was kind of hard on Google Classroom. So that is, Kami's a good idea.
It is. And then like for those maybe who you want to give that worksheet but maybe couldn't figure out how to do the Kami, you know, maybe then that's something that you send along a packet for, so that you have these packets of worksheets that you have in your Canvas or Google Classroom that they'll be working on that week, and you just get it to them on that Monday or something.
Right.
Yeah. Another thing you can do in Canvas is you can view their progress and analytics. I'm gonna go back to Kyle's because he had actually had some students do some work in there. And so if you click here, it can go in and tell, you know, who's been doing what's missing, what assignments are missing. Who's participating, who's not. So just I think that's a pretty cool way just to collect some data and have for your data notebooks. Anything you want to say, Kimberly, about this piece of it? I know you're the data guru.
We did our session yesterday, so unless there's any specific questions,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You can, once you get your Canvas course built, if you're teaching the same course the next year, you know, you can just copy over that Canvas course and just tweak it as you need to. That was one thing that I really loved about Canvas. I'm not sure how that works with Google Classroom, but Canvas, you just can copy it right on over. So you might want to just kind of check your links and make sure that they're still working. And you can do that right here with validate links and content. And so it'll let you know if any of your links have quit working, or, you know, websites might have, you know, closed, or page not found, those kinds of things that always pop up. So this will let you do that. Oh, that was a pretty neat little thing to know. How to undelete deleted items. So if you have put, you know, something in here and you just, oh, I don't want it. So you hit the little remove button right here. You want to remove it. And then you think, oh man, I really needed that. If you're on your home page and you come up here, then after your little numbers, if you put your backslash and then undelete, it will show you any of the items that's been deleted, and you can restore those items. Not any, I guess it's maybe up to 20 or something like that. So that's just something neat to know. I've done that many times. I've deleted something and I really needed to have saved it. We talked about Cami. You can add buttons. I'm not as familiar with buttons, but I think that that would probably be useful with your functional skills classes, because I think it allows you to if they hit the button, to take them where you want them to go, so that they're not having to navigate quite as much. So that might be something you want to talk with your ICs at your school about, because I'm sure they put buttons in all of their presentations and things like that. But I know you can make those in Canva and download them and then put them in Canvas. So that might be something to use with your functional skills kids, to kind of make navigating Canvas a little bit easier if you're thinking of using Canvas. So that's pretty much all that I had. Is there anything that you guys want to ask or to talk about as far as the EC part goes, and remote learning?
Are you going to be sharing your slides with us?
Yes, Crystal. It's actually Kimberly uploaded it into that PD Canvas shell.
Okay, cool.
And I added, I like notes at the bottom of mine. And so when she told me she was sharing it, I tried to go back and put the instructions of how to do the things too that I talked about.
Okay.
So that you guys will have all of that.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. I see Kyle and Crystal were talking about screenshots, and sometimes I'd use screenshots, or you can use Jenga was a way, because like if you're going to upload a CUDA worksheet, you know, they always come with the answer keys attached to them. And so I would just kind of take a screenshot or use Jenga to take a little shot and upload it of the problems that I would want the kids to complete. So screenshots are a great way to do things. Or if you have them working, maybe doing some kind of an online activity, and you want them to take a screenshot of what they made on a quiz grade, maybe an iExcel or something. They can take a screenshot and upload it and submit it to you, so that you know that they've actually completed it and kind of how they did. Any other? I'm trying to.
All right, if you want to go ahead and stop recording, Jennifer, just send me that link when it processes. But thank you all for joining us today. If there's something that you